Hey y'all, it's Mr. Reardon. It is Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock, and as promised, I'm going to put together a couple of screencasts for you guys. The thing I want to do here with these screencasts is save us some class time, things that I think are important, things that you need to know about what we're doing and why we're doing it. I like to get all of that out in the open, but I don't want to take class time for that, so I'll try and use the internets to take care of that. And I don't plan to win any production awards with these videos. I just want to make sure that you have you are sort of mentally prepared for what it is that we are trying to do day in, day out in my class. This first screencast is going to be super brief. What it is going to show us what we will be doing over the course of the year and look at the sequence of the way we do things. We're going to start this week with our first real unit. It's going to be on botany and plant science. This was a unit that I missed my first year at IB, and it's a nice way for us to get to know each other and for you to get a good feel for my teaching style. And the content itself is not that tough. Not that I want you to be asleep every day, but this is not nearly as complex as some of the ecology and bioenergetics concepts that we'll get into later. So it's a good way to warm up to each other, and it's a good way to get a feel for how I teach biology. And that'll take us about about 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We'll do a couple of labs inside of there. We'll get to know each other. We'll follow the botany and plant science unit with one of my favorite topics, which is ecology and conservation biology. And here we'll spend about 4 weeks. So you can imagine we're rolling well into October with this unit. Ecology is a very quantitative type of biology, helps you understand how the world is stitched together. It's what I was trained in graduate school, and I think you'll get quite a kick out of that. Moving on deep into the first semester, we're going to get to probably the most complex stuff of the first semester, and that is looking at bioenergetics. Now, I know you guys did quite a bit of this with Ms. Breland last year looking at cell respiration. Here we'll go back and revisit some of those concepts related to metabolism, but we'll focus more on photosynthesis, that is plants' ability to take sunlight and convert it into chemical energy known as glucose. And then, because you understand the fundamentals of cell respiration pretty well, we can look at how plants then use those sugars to drive their own metabolism, and that will give us an opportunity to look at animal as well as fungal metabolism as well. Should be a great unit. I always look forward to it. And then after that, we'll kind of wind down a little bit, and we'll go back and revisit the human physiology that you guys looked at the end of last year. Spent about 3 weeks extending those ideas about human physiology and really work the IB higher level options for human physiology. And that will get us towards the first semester, and everyone will take a final. You do not have the option of exempting that, and need to get you guys ready for the cumulative exam, which is showing up in May. We'll take a good 2 weeks off for Christmas, then we'll come back and we'll probably hit something everyone's looking forward to. That is really molecular genetics or modern genetics, taking a laboratory-based approach to understanding how your DNA is then coded into RNA, and then how that RNA is then translated into proteins that make you who you are and drive your metabolism. And we'll spend a good solid 5 weeks on molecular genetics, mostly in a laboratory mode, and me teaching some content to fill in the gaps of why it is we're doing what we're doing in lab. We'll follow that up with Mendelian genetics. That's the more kind of traditional genetics that you're familiar with, thinking about Punnett squares and alleles, these finite pieces of DNA which sit on chromosomes. And that is a really, even though it's old, it's becoming even more important. In the age of molecular genetics, it's even more important that we know how those discrete pieces of DNA, those genes, are actually expressed as a phenotype, and how that affects human health and disease. Again, you can kind of tell by the way I'm talking, I get quite excited about that unit. We're going to end the year with perhaps my favorite unit of all. We're going to get deep into evolution. That will help us tie the whole year up. I'll be talking about evolution and natural selection and adaptations all year long, but here we'll get to really get a good understanding of what Charles Darwin and Alfred Wallace were thinking about in the middle part of the 19th century, and we'll look at how that understanding of how organisms evolve from common ancestry and evolved adaptations really helps us make sense of the ecology and the bioenergetics and the physiology that we looked at first semester. We'll also take a more quantitative aspect to our ecology or evolution unit, and look at how individual genes can proliferate within a population or how they could get snuffed out based on selection pressure. And we'll also take a little look at human evolution, so get ready for that. That's always of interest to my students here at IB, and I hope that it is of interest to you. And then I want you to kind of think down the road. We'll work through 7 units, and by the time we have uncovered all of those concepts and done all those labs, you will be very, very ready for your higher level biology papers 1, paper 2, and paper 3, as well as the AP Biology exam. I love teaching this stuff. I look forward to working with you this year. I will see you in class on Monday or Wednesday.